Hello friends, how are you? Most are maybe overwhelming at first. They are not satisfied with their life, leading a dissatisfied and an unhappy life. Unfortunately, we shouldn't be so because the life has been given and gifted to us once and once only. So for all that reason, we should make it a top priority to be a happy person, to lead a good life, the life of our choice. But dear friends, we are unable to do that for the reason that our emotions keep disturbing us. There are positive emotions, there are negative emotions, and the negative emotions, sometimes these are very hard to control and they spoil our life. Today we are going to talk about a very important discussion. So that is how to regulate our emotions, regulating our emotions. So that should be the prime subject to be talked about and to be to be practiced. So for that reason, let's look upon what is emotional regulation, why it is so important, how can we do that. First of all, we need to understand that what is emotional regulation. Emotion regulation refers to the ability to manage and modulate emotional responses to various situations, stimuli, or experiences. It involves there are four things actually which does which are bracketed as the emotional regulation. The number one is recognizing and identifying emotions. Recognizing and identifying emotions. So that is what is this, by the way? This is emotional regulation. Number two, understanding emotional intensity and impact. The intensity on the one hand, the impact of it upon the situation, upon our life on the other hand. This is also emotional regulation. Number three, controlling emotional expression and behavior. It is also emotional regulation, controlling emotional experiences and behavior. Number four, modifying emotional responses to achieve goal or well-being. Modify emotional responses to achieve goals or well-being. So the four of these are called emotional regulation. So we have defined it very clearly. Let's see why to regulate emotion. Why to regulate emotion? So there are seven reasons why should we regulate the emotion, maintain mental health and well-being. So it is really important that the mental health must be good enough, the well-being should be ensured. So that is the one way, that is one reason why it is important to regulate the emotions. Number two, improve relationships and communication. It does improve relationships and communication. Number three, enhances decision making and problem solving. It does enhance decision making and problem solving. Number four, increase resilience and stress tolerance. Increases resilience and increases stress tolerance as well. Number five, boost productivity. It does boost productivity and performance. Number six, why regulate emotions? Prevent emotional overwhelm and burnout. It does prevent emotional overwhelm and burnout. Number seven, why regulate emotion? Number seven, promote self-awareness and promote emotional intelligence. Self-awareness means what are my weaknesses and what kind of threats I may encounter because of this, so how to minimize my weaknesses, and then of course the resulting things as well. So what are my strengths and how what kind of benefits I may get, how to maximize the benefits which I can get out of my strength. So that is called emotional, that is called self-awareness. Now also it does improve emotional intelligence. As far the emotional intelligence is concerned, I think all the people in the world today, if they are happy, they're happy for one reason, and that one happy, that one reason is their emotional intelligence. And look upon all the people who are unhappy in the world today, say they are unhappy for one reason, and that is lacking the emotional intelligence. So, my dear friends and fellows, look, so that is, this is why regulate emotion. Now, let's go to the next segment of it. Importance of emotional regulation. Why it is important to regulate our emotions. So there are certain reasons. Reduces anxiety, depression and stress. Yes, it does reduces our mental stress level, our anxiety level, and of course it prevents, it protect us, it inoculate us from depression. So that is the reason number one, importance of emotional regulation. Reason number two, improves mood and overall happiness. Yes, it does improve the mood and overall happiness as well. Number three, it enhances cognitive function and focus. Yes, our mind does control us, and the mind is the prime organ of the body, so it must be kept in the top shape. So, as far this emotional regulation is concerned, it enhances cognitive function and focus. Number four, it supports physical health and well being as well. It does support physical health and well being. Number five, it fosters positive relationships and social connections. Yes, it does foster positive relationships and social connection. Number six, it increases adaptability and it increases flexibility as well. Number seven, it promotes personal growth and self awareness. Yes, it does promote personal growth and it does promote self awareness as well. So, now how to regulate emotions, so that is very important. How to regulate emotions, there are of course certain strategies, and these strategies are very important. I have enlisted all those strategies which can help us a lot in regulating our emotions. Number one, it is the mindfulness and the meditation. The mindfulness and the meditation, what is this mindfulness? All of us have a past, and maybe all of us have certain regrets about the past as well. So I think all of us will be have, maybe we enjoyed many of the happy moments as well. So we need to learn whatever is possible to learn as far our past is concerned. Then let it go. Do not dwell in the past. All of us have a future, and maybe most of the people, they keep worrying about the future instead of worrying about the future. It is far better to plan and then let it go. Now, what to do? If at all we don't have to dwell in the past, we don't have to think much about the future. So let's focus upon our present. Let's concentrate upon our today and particularly our present moment. That is called mindfulness. Mindfulness and meditation. So that is the number one way to practice the self-regulation, to practice the emotional regulation. So now the number two way is, it is the deep breathing exercises, very effective indeed. Deep breathing exercises are very important. So how to do that? Inhale 4 seconds and then retain that air into our lungs for 7 seconds. Try to release it gradually. Spend 8 seconds. Obviously, we can't do it perfectly from the beginning, but with the practice of with the consistent practice, we can take it up to this level. So this is the deep breathing exercise, for the purpose of emotional regulation. Now the third way is physical activity and exercise. Physical activity is highly useful. No, whatever suits you. Walking, jogging, running, weightlifting, yoga, aerobics, athletics, whatever, whatever suits you. The most common of all these is the walking. So that is the physical activity and exercise. Now the fourth way to practice to regulate our emotions. It is journaling and self-reflection. Self-reflection means look upon, if at all it is evening, look upon how you spend the, week, looking back, whatever I did, what was done properly, where I reacted properly, where I reacted properly, and where I could not act properly, where I could not react properly. What did I learn from my past? So that is reflection. Then it is the journaling. Journaling mean keep write your thoughts, your feeling, your bodily sensations, and then you don't need to retain it. You can if you want to, but you just need to write. So that is journaling and reflection, self reflection. Now, the fifth is grounding techniques. What are these grounding techniques, by the way? That is another form of the mindfulness. Now, the sixth way to practice the emotional regulation. It is emotional labeling and acceptance. Emotional labeling, we need to accept. We need to identify this is the emotion of the anger, this is the emotion of the fear, this is the emotion of the jealousy. This is the emotion of the love. This is the emotion of the happiness. So, whatever emotion you are experiencing at the moment, so we need to label it. We need to identify. We need to label it. And of course, we need to accept it. Does not mean that we don't want to change or improve, but initially we have to accept it. So, because unless and until we don't accept it, we cannot start moving forward at all. So, that then the next is the seventh way to regulate our emotions is cognitive reappraisal. What is this cognitive reappraisal? It is reframing of the thoughts, reframing the thoughts so it become positive, so it become practical enough. Now the eighth way to practice the to achieve this emotional regulation, it is social support and connection. We need to develop a network. We need to develop our relationship with the people gradually, obviously not at once. Number nine, self-care and relaxation. We need to relax. We need to relax. We need to unwind, because if at all we become a workaholic, if at all we don't relax us, so I think that is a kind of disaster. So we need to take care of ourselves, self-care. We need to practice the self-care, because if at all we don't take care of ourselves, who else is going to do that? Only we remain with us 24/7. Others have their own pressing problems and priorities. So we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to relax ourselves as well. Now, the tenth way to achieve the emotional regulation, it is the seeking of professional help, therapy whenever it is needed. So that was how to regulate emotions, and there were 10 strategies. Now, moving to the next part of it, it is the techniques or the exercises. Exercises. How can we practice it more, directly? And there are certain very useful, very effective techniques which are eight in number. So, number one exercise is progressive muscle relaxation. What is this progressive muscle relaxation? It is like focusing on the one part of your body, making those muscles tense enough, then gradually releasing it. So doing it for 3 4 times, 3 to 5 times. So then moving to the next part of the body, and these muscles should be made tense, whatever it is possible. So then gradually release it. Do it for 3 times, for 4 times, for 5 times. So I think that is a very good technique as well. So that is called, it is called progressive, muscle relaxation. Number two, the second exercise, it is visualization and imagery. Visualization and imagery. Seeing the images in the imagination, or visualizing like a video. I am achieving. I'm moving forward. I'm getting what I want. I already have whatever I wanted to achieve. I have already reached where I wanted to reach. I've already become where what I wanted to become. I'm very happy. I am enjoying my life. It actually programs our mind. It goes right into our subconscious mind with the consistent and the persistent practice. So once it does enter our subconscious mind, we become programmed, and I think that is a highly effective way, although it takes effort. It is the visualization and imagery. Now the third exercise for the emotional regulation, it is the mindful movement. What is this mindful movement? There are two common ways. One is the Tai Chi, which is practiced in the China. One is yoga here in our region, and maybe the whole of the world. It is practiced the yoga. So it is yoga is the mindful movement. Now the fourth exercise for emotional regulation is, it is the emotion expression. Emotional expression, emotion expression. How can we express our emotion? Like poetry, like writing, like fiction or real, like singing, like painting, whatever is the artistic way, but do that. Now the next, it is the fifth exercise for the emotional regulation. It is the self compassion and self forgiveness. What self compassion and self forgiveness? We need to forgive ourselves, and we need to practice the self compassion, because if at all we don't forgive ourselves, I think because we the human being, we might have made many of the mistakes in the past. We weren't able to perform well. We might have wasted our time, our money, and maybe so many other things as well. So I think we need to forgive ourselves, seeking forgiveness from the other people. So forgiving other people, but we need to forgive ourselves, because as for the self compassion is concerned, once we are in a difficulty, once we are in the trouble, if we don't love ourselves, if at all we don't take care of ourselves, if at all we don't react the way we need to, we do try to react to our dearest person on earth. I think that is the right way. Practice the self compassion. Every time we are hurt, we are defeated, we have suffered, I think we need to take care of ourselves. We need to provide ourselves with the love and the comfort, the way we do with the dearest person. Now the next is, it is the reality testing. What is this reality testing? It is challenging the negative thought, the negative thoughts which actually discourage us, which tries to pull us back. So we need to discourage, we need to reframe, we need to challenge all the negative thoughts, the negative thoughts which are counterproductive, which are discouraging, which depresses us, which does create a kind of mental stress. So what we need to do is that we must be doing it. And that is, my dear friends and fellows, it is the challenging of negative thoughts. Now the seventh exercise for the purpose of emotional regulation. It is the problem focused coping. What is this problem focused coping? It is addressing underlying issues, identifying, identifying first, and then addressing the underlying issues. So that is the seventh exercise of emotional regulation. Now the eighth exercise for the emotional regulation, it is emotion focused coping. What is this, by the way? Emotion focused coping. It is managing emotional emotional responses. It is managing emotional responses. It is emotion focused coping. So my dear friends and fellows, these were it was a very useful, very beneficial discussion indeed about the emotional regulation. What is actually, firstly, we discussed about what is emotional regulation, then we talked about why it is important to regulate emotion, then thirdly, what is the importance of emotional regulation, then the next was how to regulate our emotion, and finally we talked about what are the exercises and what are the techniques of regulating our emotions. So there are final words at the bottom line: by regulating your emotion, you will improve your mental health, By regulating your emotions, you will improve your mental health, your relationships, and overall well-being. By regulating your emotions, you will improve your mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. Start practicing emotional regulation today, because unless and until we don't practice this emotional regulation, we will not be able to live a happy life, we will not be able to live a productive life, we will not be able to achieve what we wanted to. But even if at all we do succeed in achieving what we wanted to, it will not be able to provide us the kind of satisfaction and happiness, the kind of gratification we were expecting, and we will be able to develop and maintain very, very good relationships with the people. So that's all from me today. Thank you very much.